Hello and welcome back to the Junkyard Dawgcast. Georgia escapes Lexington with a 16-6 win over Kentucky in what should be known as the ugliest game we've seen from the Bulldogs all year, and that is counting that Mizzou win. This game was off the rails from start to finish, really. Georgia's defense started out strong in the first half. Had a couple of big pass plays they gave up in the second half to make this game closer. But the story of this game is definitely Georgia's offense not able to really get it done when they needed to. The goal line packages just have not worked for Georgia this year. Early on, you kind of just write those off as Georgia trying some different things. At this point in the season, you got to think that Georgia using Jalen Carter in that jumbo package is just not going to get it done. They did a good job with Jordan Davis the last couple of years in that same situation, but it is not working. And more than that, I think these short yardage situations, you have to start to look yourself in the mirror and ask this offensive line, can you guys help Georgia get a yard? Because several times against Kentucky's front, Georgia was unable to get the push they needed to get the first down, move the chains, or to get in the end zone. And that is something that Kirby Smart and this coaching staff, they are going to watch that film next week and ask these players, can you guys step it up and when we need it most? Because while this game they were able to come out with a win, they are going to be pushed a little bit more over the next couple of games. But at the same time, I think you have to tip your cap overall to the defense. They got it done when they needed most, and I think you look at this schedule now. Georgia just completed their second straight undefeated SEC schedule. Something they had, the be 11-0 for the second year in a row. Again, every single week we get to say it's something that Georgia's never done before. This is new territory for the Dogs, and once again they get to play Georgia Tech with a chance to go 12-0 on the year. I think that you'll take that every year you can if you're a Georgia fan. I think you look at the margin of victory coming in this game. No one expected this game to be as close as it was. I think it was 27.7 points was Georgia's margin of victory coming in this game. That was third best in the country. First half, it was the Podlesny show. 3 field goals, 36 degrees out there, the wind blowing 13 miles an hour. You got to really tip your cap to Jack Podlesny. When they needed him most, he came through for Georgia on Saturday, and that is something that they will take into the postseason. Know that right now their kicker is playing as well as he has in his time at Georgia. That's a weapon they're going to need in close games. Red zone offense, again, continues to be able to put points on the board, but you want to get 7 points when you can, because this margin of error is going to shrink big time when they're playing LSU and when they're playing in the college football playoff. If they do make it, obviously they're in a great position right now to make it there. But again, you got to take the win today and move on next week to Georgia Tech. I think you look at this 13th straight win over Kentucky. You look at the red zone, it is not where they need to be right now as far as getting into the end zone. I think that is something that Kirby Smart and his coaching staff are going to have to go back to the drawing board. And what they're doing right now is not working. They have to be able to run the ball in the red zone. They have to be able to get a yard when they need to. And so that aspect, again, I think it's clear now that is an issue for Georgia. Not just his offensive line, the running backs have to be able to they get a yard when they need to as well. And Todd Monken has to know that running a quarterback sneak with Stetson Bennett might not be the play all the time. You might need to run play action. You might need to roll Stetson Bennett out and use his legs more effectively. You might need to use those tight ends you have that we've said all year is the best tight end room in the country. They're going to have to utilize those guys more if they want to win games where they are tested even more than they were today. But it's still a weird game. Again, when you only have 3 possessions in the first half, you come away with 9 points, you take that. But credit Kentucky. They did a great job with that time of possession. I mean, that's not a lot of time with the football. But I think Kirby Smart in the 2 minutes, the Kirby Smart decisions have not been the strength right now as far as just trying to make it a 3-score game. I think that you have that chip shot field goal, you take it. It could have been 19-0. You put the game away. He put his face in the offensive line in that run game, and they weren't able to get it. It didn't work out. Kentucky credited them a 99-yard drive to cut that lead to 16-6. I think that's another aspect where you kind of say, you know what, we should take the points next time. I know that we had stopped them 3 times in a row. They had 3 3-and-outs in a row, but the math tells you want to make it a 3-score game when you can, and that's an aspect that I think Kirby Smart would agree as well. He had that decision the last week in the 2-minute drill. Now this one, that's some self-scouting he's going to be able to do as well. But the team stepped up when they needed it most. You had your defensive backs give up some big plays, but I think you still look at Kamari Lassiter making a big play when he needed to late in the game, and you'll get Keely Ringo. How big was that interception as well? Big play when he needed it as well. I think that there's still some positives you take from this game. These guys are now battle-tested, a little more battle-tested in games you didn't expect them to be. You did not expect games like Missouri, Kentucky to be the 2 games that test Georgia the most so far in this regular season. But, again, a win is a win. You move on, and you hope everybody is healthy for next week against Georgia Tech. As Kirby Smart said, it's a rivalry game. Hasn't been a very even rivalry as of late, and I think Georgia Bulldogs are going to want to keep it that way as they try to go 12-0 on the year. But we will break that down more for you next week. For this edition of the Junkyard Dawgcast, I'm Kip Adams. You guys stay warm. Have a great weekend.